Round 7 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsled World Cup in St Moritz. And it is also the European Championship race weekend. Hello everybody, welcome back to the beautiful Engadin Valley. Martin Haven and John Morgan here, getting ready for the action in the second and deciding run. And John, this track produced some very close first heat action.
Very impressive one, the World Cup leader from Korea, who's coming off his first ever gold medal 2 weeks ago in Whistler. He's great starts, great drive down the track, little mistake down on the exit of Gunner Sachs, but he puts himself in a bronze medal position, and again, he is the World Cup leader, and there's only one more race to go after this. Steve Holcomb, Carlos Valdez, wow! Holcomb didn't have the great start time, and he does what he does best, which is drive. 23rd best start time. He rockets down the track, sets the track record, and at the time he was in first, he falls to second to this guy here. Well, Beat Hefty, Alex Bowman. Well, these guys were silver medalists at the Olympics in 2014. They haven't been paired up because Bowman's been hurt. Hefty's been sort of just hanging out, finishing in 10th, 12th, 15th place in a couple World Cups. And this day, he turns around and has the best time at the bottom, and he's favored to win the gold medal going away here. And
not having Alex Bowman is one of the reasons Hefty dropped out of World Cup competition. He said there's no point trying to go against the best in the world when you don't have a strong braking crew. Stephen Holcomb, 2100s back, 1500 slower at the start, and Yoon Jong-won of Korea in the bronze medal position, just a couple of hundreds ahead of Germany's Nico Walter. See how close some of the gaps are all the way down. In our top 20, we have no fewer than 4 dead heat ties, including for 19th spot. Air temperature hovering around 0 now after a -10 overnight low. Ice still -5. Takes a lot to warm up a mountain that's 2,000 meters deep, and that's why this track remains frozen when everywhere around it is sunny and beautiful. And what a great place to watch. You can see lots of athletes, lots of fans at the
horseshoe
top.
Bar, that is, right across from the horseshoe curve.
That's the, was that horseshoe or no? That's the Dracula. That's the start area, above the start. Yeah, the horseshoe bar.
I think that was the horseshoe bar.
Party Central. There is the Dracula Club behind the start area. Dracula Club built by Playboy Gunter Sachs, after whom a corner is named here. So our tie for 19th will kick us off. Bradley Hall of Great Britain and Benny Meyer were tied in the first heat. Meyer matched Hall's time, so he goes off effectively 20th, the first of our 20 sleds. And last to go will be the leaders, Beat Hefty and Alex Bowman, currently leading the gold medal charge in the European Championships.
Beautiful setting here on this historic track. You know what Monte Carlo is to auto racing, what Yankee Stadium is to baseball, this place is to bobsleds, where the sport was born and matured to where it is today. It's the only last natural ice facility we have on the planet, and it's appropriate for one of the older nations in the sport, Austria, to lead us off here.
Race 7 in the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup. Deciding heat getting underway with Austria's Benny Meyer and Markus Sammer. 2 drivers on the sled yelled away by their teammates who have just finished the women's race. St Moritz, the only natural track on the planet now.
50.6 start speed, keep your eye on that. They had a 16 start, 7th best start in the first run, and they improved. Meyer, his father, coaches the team. He's a young 22-year-old who very impressive starts in the first run. And for this young athlete who next week goes to Eagles and represents his country on his home track at the World Championships in Eagles, Innsbruck, Austria. It'll be a wonderful 2 weeks in that double Olympic city.
Didn't go to North America. He did 3 World Cup races at the start of the season, only made the top 20 cut once.
But he's better in four-man, believe it or not. If he gets starts like this in the four-man, he'll be impressive.
Yeah.
Boy, he's been smooth. He has not touched the wall on this trip. And he had a time of 106.93 in the first run. Should be in the 50s here, at least. 6.84. No, he's only 900ths better. That's his dad on the right, Manfred. He's got a brother that competed yesterday in skeleton.
Yep. Their sister doesn't do ice sports at all. Dad did, the boys do.
Well, he put the brakes on too quickly,
Yeah,
Marcus
nice and
Sommer
early.
did. And look at these pictures out of the most famous curve in the world, Horseshoe.
Very
Here,
low.
the pivotal part of the track. You want to launch with a slingshot effect, avoid hitting the left wall here before telephone. He looks like he was on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And the take on in the telephone, look at the drive, look at the brakeman's head come up. That's the G-force that you get on the take on. Pops his head up like that.
Benny Meyer leads the race then, and the next sled down was tied to the 100th of a second. Rookie Bradley Hall with Ben the Bounce, Ben Simons behind him.
Well, start time, 14th best start, 23. So what we just saw out of Meyer and Sommer, they should be around 20.
Bradley Hall, a window cleaner by trade.
In and around, the start speed 56 the Austrians had.
5:19, that's a good start.
You didn't see it there, but the telemetry comes, you see, from the antenna on the sled. All the sleds have telemetry in the front of it. You can see the nose where the little glass beacon is.
Ben Simons is a brakeman. Prince Philip once apparently implied that he was too skinny. I'm sure that went down well. 700's behind.
That's relative to the start. The little tap there before Nash. Now into Nash-Dixon, named after their countryman who won the gold medal at the 64 Innsbruck Olympic Games. And
nice height, good exit.
that's a good sign. +7 to +7 is a good sign. Stops the bleeding. Now he can find the fast line down here and catch the Austrians on the bottom with perfect lines. Down to 6.
Oh, going to be very close. Needs 141 at the bottom.
Got to be clean here on the Gunter Sachs exit.
Doesn't,
and he is.
Yeah, doesn't get
Right
the tap.
to- don't think so.
141. This could be another tie.
Right to the 100 skid there.
500's behind. And oh, 700's back.
So that skid going uphill in Portago from Martineau to Portago.
Yeah, those last two corners can
That's going uphill.
see you lose ground.
Yeah, so he was 5. He was bleeding. You know, he stopped the bleeding, got into a potential positive time, and then that skid going uphill cost him a couple hundredths and a chance to finish ahead of Meyer. But it's not bad for
Still top
Brad
20
Hall.
finish in a field of 31.
This is a second-year World Cup driver.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Lots of fans in the sunshine. See the Brazilians there in their blue jackets. They'll be racing in the 4-man tomorrow. Next up, Rico Peter only just made the cut. 17th or 18th place he was.
This is the guy at second in World Cup points.
Yeah, 7th
Fourth.
fastest start. Had a horrible, horrible run.
He had a horrible run starting out of curve 1 when he went sideways.
Yeah.
He won the event in Whistler, the first event in Whistler there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Tied the Koreans for the gold medal. So
Second two-man win within a year because he won in Sochi last year in February.
see if he gets around the first curve clean. Yeah, so he's going to get around at 5:19, 5:20. So they probably ran one less step, said we want to get through here.
Yeah.
He could spend 6 or 8 sleds in the leader's box here because this is a guy 4th to World Cup points. And again, he won in Whistler. For him to be back in 18th place on his home track in Switzerland, embarrassment. Only 500ths up. Something wrong here. Tap there, too.
He's gone behind.
Yeah, this is strange. Maybe bad runner selection. This is very
Well, the track change is so
really
dramatic.
low there.
Good speed, though. 103.4, quicker than the Austrians, but sliding around all over the place.
A lot of taps. This is
Well, he's made a successful career this season out of hitting everything in sight and still going fast.
This
the
is
only bit
runner
that's
selection.
missing here is he's still going fast.
Benny Meyer's never beat this guy before, and he's going to beat him today.
Yeah, Benny Meyer
is
moves up
shocking.
2 spots now.
If you would have bet me he would finish way back here like that, I would have put a lot of money against that. I mean, Rico Peter in his track at St Moritz, all the media here, he won a gold medal just 2 weeks ago in Whistler, and now he's going to finish like 18th or 19th place.
Shakes his hand, not at all happy with that.
That's runner selection.
Top 3 covered by 700ths of a second, by the way.
I think he wants to go right to the parking garage. Low here in the horseshoe. Crossover, forces him up in the outlet. He gets away with it, but that's a lot of steering in the horseshoe. Then down below here on the track, that down in Devil's Dyke, a little late there, a tap of the wall.
800s up, he's now 700s back. He lost 1500s to Benny Meyer on that run alone. Next up then, Maciej Luty of Poland. And he was 11 hundredths ahead of our current leader, Benny Meyer, in the first heat. These gaps, we talk about 11 hundredths of a second, John Morgan, like it's a huge margin. It is to us, but it's 11 hundredths of a second. It's the blink of an eye.
48.8, so not all the telemetry we get off, that's the telemetry we get off the sled. This, you watch that current speed on the left, right. If you see anything red there, that's some kind of a negative read, hitting the wall, steering too much. That rally, really shows you how much friction that the guys get in and out of the curves.
The accelerometer shows whether it's picking up speed or not, and you see in the big corners it remains neutral. Now, does he get speed diving out of horseshoe? Yes, he does.
2100s down. He was good in the bottom part of the track in the first heat. Had a negative 25th best start, but he found a fast line down below.
That is way the lowest speed we've seen so far.
Well,
just 61 miles an hour.
Well, Benny Meyer is going to bite somebody else off here.
Yes, he is. Well, there's only 11 hundredths between them, and Luty is already 4 tenths back.
He's going to fall 4 places.
He'll be 20th. He'll be at the bottom of the field.
Someplace too much steering, 107.37, and that is 5,500 slower than his first run. Most everybody's going to come down here faster in the second run than their first run.
Benny Meyer and Marcus Sammer enjoying their time in the leader's box. Both have driven in World Cup races this year in two-man for Austria, as Maciej Luty, the 27-year-old from Poland, drops down the order.
Here comes into the horseshoe out of Nash Dixon. He's on the wrong side of the curve, which means he's going to have to steer really hard here. He's up here late. Look at the steering there.
Steering hard already.
Hard already. And then look at the runners go the other way, so that tells you how much he steered. He brought it back to neutral, and then he hit. That sled was airborne coming off that curve.
I'm not thinking his brakeman is looking very comfortable. Next up for Monaco, Rudy Rinaldi. Rinaldi was tied with Maciej Luty, so only 11 hundredths ahead of our current leader, Benny Meyer. Bruno Mijon and the last Monaco driver in World Cup action we saw there at the top. Oh, and that's a shocker, and that's over.
Just 50.3 was good start speed. Boris Van on the back is a beast. And this is pretty good for Rudy where he was in the first run, but it's going to be history now. He's going to have all he can do to not drop 2 places.
Patrice Savelle, who you saw at the top of the track, will be
the most
not needing to tell Rudy Rinaldi where this run went wrong, really.
Patrice is the most successful Monegasque driver ever, even in front of Your Highness Prince Albert. Patrice finished 4th at the World Championships in Koenigsegg in 2004.
However, Rudy Rinaldi is the only Monegasque to have won an Olympic medal.
The Junior Olympics here in the Eagles, which is 2012 Junior World Olympics, which start next week in Lillehammer.
Yes, they do. World start in Eagles, Junior Olympics in Lillehammer.
50. He's going to fall 5 places.
Yeah. He'll be right at the tail of the field. He can't drop out of the top 20 because no one else gets the second heat. But there you are. On the right is Benny Meyer, and on the left, Marcus Sammer.
Not a bad drive down the track once he got by the 200-meter mark, but after that first curve, he'll be the first one to tell you he's going to be.
Well, that was the equivalent of hauling on the brakes there, wasn't it? That was a horrible, horrible run for them.
So here's the start.
So did they go too far? Does he not get in?
He's in pretty early.
Ah, yeah.
He doesn't obviously have his hand on the D-rings, or he misread the take on and exit of that little first curve. So tricky.
Yeah. So insignificant, and yet can be so significant. And a calf. So that's 2 athletes we've just seen in the last 2 sleds looking very second-hand. Benny Meyer continues to climb the order. 15 sleds to go. He's our leader. Simone Bertazzo of Italy with Simone Fontana behind him, a borrowed Swiss City sled, looking for high speed on this St Moritz track. 15th after the first heat.
5:37. They had the 27th best start in the first run to probably one of the best drivers in the field, who won a bronze medal on this track at the World Championships in 2007. But that was then. And when he had a good start, he used to have a top 5 start. Now he's got the 27th best start. And even on a track where it's a minute 8, minute 9 to get minute 6 to get down, that start is still a crucial part of your result.
None of us are quite as quick as we were 8 years ago, are we? Good line through Horseshoe. Didn't go for the height, went for the clean exit.
Benny Meyer could move up. He's moved up 5 spots.
And Batazzo is tied with Chris Spring.
Here comes somebody that can find speed on the bottom. If he gets this down to single digits right here, he's got a chance. No, not going to do it. He's going to probably lose by 3 or 4 hundredths.
It's going to be very close. 1:42.3 is a kilometre an hour, half faster than Meyer. And
how about that? Benny Meyer's moved up 6 spots. What a way for him to go into the World Championships next week at his home track.
First sled to go, and nobody has beat him yet. So 6 sleds behind him, or 5 sleds behind him. And Simone Batazzo was tied in the first heat to the hundreds with Chris Spring of Canada, the 3rd fastest starter.
Well, watch these lines. Look at the runners. You can see him position. He's really low. Now watch the crossover. They show us all the way. See if his head, the brakeman's head pops up here in the transition. Watch the brakeman's head. No, perfect. Yeah, they're a little bit there at the end.
It gets on a little early,
G-force, G-force pops it up.
Chris Spring of Canada, the last man to win a World Cup race in 2-man. He won the 2nd of the double 2-man weekend races in Whistler in Canada with Lascelles Brown behind him. In fact, we had 3 winners in 2 races, didn't we? Because Rico Pater and Yun Jung Won tied for the gold in the first race.
3 different nations winning gold medals in Whistler's 2 races.
How many times have 3 men won a World Cup 2-man race in the same weekend?
Okay, the team with the 3rd best start, 5:15. They should probably go 5:11 here, where the king pushes. 12. Oh, well, the start speed, 51.1, and that's that 42-year-old brakeman, originally from Jamaica, who slides for Canada now. He even had a little stint with Monaco.
Yep.
A little bit of a mercenary in the back, but he's 42 years old, and the coach, Tom Delahunty, says he'll put him up against anybody in the world.
Yeah. If he goes to the Push Championships in Samir in Romania, then look out, everybody. That'll be a big throwdown. Him, guys like Kevin Kuska, Damas Dreskins, if he can get his Achilles fit. 3/10 of a lead and more for Chris Spring. Now, this is more what we were expecting in the first heat. Maybe the ice conditions just did not suit the Canadian runners.
Yeah,
because they had a blinding start. He didn't have a horrible-looking drive. 3,500 hundredths now. 104.5 a kilometre an hour, quicker than anybody. 141.2, top speed at the bottom. And he'll lead by near 4/10. It is 41 hundredths.
22 hundredths better.
106.57 would have left him in 7th instead of where he was in 14th.
It's hard to believe.
The track's maybe a little quicker than when he was on it before, but there's the smile is back. That felt good for him. That worked.
Well, the Canadians had some real problems with their top athlete, Justin Cripps, not qualifying for a 2nd run. But look at this 42-year-old Jamaican on the back. Slid for Jamaica at the 2002 Games. Power step, in, down, technique, perfect. Watch the pressure. A little bit of a turnaround that first curve, but they have the best velocity, the best start, and they are the leaders.
You heard him say that was sweet. 2200's better. That really felt like a drive. Next up, 13th spot in the first heat for Nick Cunningham. James Reed, the brakeman's parents are here. They've come up from Garmisch-Partenkirchen.
See what these guys can garnish.
Oh, very good. 5:27, just a little quicker than their first heat.
Well, this sled was demolished last week, or 2 weeks ago in Whistler in the final heat of the competition. He told the story in the first heat. We saw pictures last night of Richard Lobenstein taking a chainsaw to the back of the sled to cut the brake handles off, because it was destroyed.
And you know, as a race car technician, that must have been killing him to just butcher carbon like that, but it had to be done. 2600's back. They were only 600s up in the first heat.
He's got a long way to go to come back. You know, and he crashed in that race in Whistler, and he's the first one to admit it was driver error that caused him to crash, as we told us last night.
Well, we saw all 4 crashes were all driver error. Got it late in 11 and didn't steer enough in 12-13 crossover.
Better watch out. He could drop. No, he's going to drop one spot.
Yeah, he'll be in front of Ben but not finding the speed after the first heat that Chris Spring did.
Yeah, but Spring beat him by 15 hundredths at the start in both runs. So that's 30 hundredths over 2 heats. Only beat him by 25 at the bottom. So Cunningham and Reed didn't maintain their place, not because of their drive down the track, but because of their first 50-meter start time.
So where did Springer come from in the first 2-man race in Whistler? Do you remember he came from what, like 13th up to 5th or something?
And then the second one he won. So this is up top. This is in the snake. Ooh, a little skid there on the takeout, and then he had to steer hard to come off it. That's out of the second curve of the snake, and now into Sunny. Little skid our TV crew picked up in the truck. Pretty educated crew we got in there.
Spring only 12th in the first Whistler race. I'm misremembering. It was Uge Zalms who had the huge rise, wasn't it? 13th to 7th.
But it sounded good.
Yeah, Oscar's Keeper would have sounded better if it was true. Oscar's Keeper Manis next up for Latvia. 12th place after the first heat. Led Chris Spring by 13 hundredths. That might not be enough to hold on.
Well, 5:15 start. Everybody's going faster, so let's say 5:12. Ooh, skid, 13. Speed, 50.9. Not as good as Chris Spring, but not bad. But we've seen Keeper Manis struggle all year long with his driving skills. This young 22-year-old Latvian hopeful who their Latvians are betting a lot of money on for the future.
Kind of weird season he's had. 9th and 6th in the first 2 races. The last 3, 17th in Koenigsegg, then 10th and 18th.
Yeah, he's had some real struggles, and he had some struggles up top in the snake right here. There's only 400s ahead, and the Latvian sleds have not been fast on the bottom part of the track. I think Spring's going to get him down here.
Looking a lot less skiddy than he was in the first heat. But you're right, they're not using Latvian-built BTC sleds, but they're using the Eurotech sled.
400s to 3, back to 4, which means I might be proven exactly wrong.
141.8,
yeah, he's pulling away.
4, 700ths of a second. Will he take the lead from Spring? Looks clean, hit on the line, 500ths.
106.65. But he's 100th better in the second run. Spring was 3/10 better. But that's got to be a little bit encouraging. That was a better run. Mistakes up top in the snake, some skids up there in that very precision 2-corner combination at the top of the track. But Oscar's, look at him. He hasn't got out of the sled too often with a smile on his face this season.
No.
The start, look at this huge man. Look at his arms come up. Look at the cohesion and down. That looked a little bit too bouncy. But around that first curve, look at the skid. So precise. You have to feather yourself around that first curve or it could be costly.
There is Oscar's Keeper Manis. And next up is the first of our Russian sleds, Alexei Stulnev with Max Belugin behind him. Stulnev in the first heat, tied for 10th with Oscar's Melbardis. 200s in front of Keeper Manis, our current leader. Stulnev had that big cut on his ankle early in the season, didn't he? Which left him hobbling around for the first 3 races. The Christmas break helped him, but that's going to bury him.
Yeah, 49 start speed. I mean, everybody else is in the 50s.
And then
Chris
putting
Spring
it
was 51
down the track.
Look how low he is. Look how low he is on the talon, though. But again, yeah, Stulnev crashed at Altenburg at 4-man, had 6 stitches in his back of his ankle, and he had to hobble around for 4 races, 2 weekends of racing before they got the stitches up. But the Russian sleds we saw in the first run, the deficient start times were really fast on the bottom part of the track.
3 horseshoe.
2300s. He's gonna that ain't fast there. I hate to use the word ain't, but that was a crush up at Devil's Dyke. 26 to 17. He's coming. I think that big bang out of Devil's Dyke's going to cost him dearly, though.
And again on the straight, knocks him into a
maybe
skid.
not. This is going to be right to the 100.
700s, he hasn't got the speed at the line, surely.
Oh,
he does. Where did he take?
Look at that. Look at that. Why did he do that?
How has he done that?
Well, I said the Russians have good speed on this track, on the bottom part of the track, and that just proved it. And we have 2 more Russian sleds to come yet, who surprised the Russians don't have the start time. Zubkov, who has won the World Championships on this track, World Cups on this track, had great starts. And, of course, look at the runners there. A lot of pressure. Now watches the exit, the slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track. To have speed, you got to do it. Now watch the down here. Then this is a real major hit here. He got away with it, though. Look at him come in the middle part of the next curve.
Shamrock into Devil's Dyke. You don't want to hit there too hard. Alexei Stulnev has the lead, though, for Russia. We have 10 sleds still to come. Alexei Stulnev leads a tight field here in St Moritz. Two-man World Cup champion last year, 4-man World Cup champion last year. Oskars Melbardis with a back injury, Damas Triskins with an Achilles injury, running at about 75% full strength at the moment. 5:18.
Speed 50. No, they'd be 51 and high 51 start speed. These 2 monsters. World Cup across the board last year, 2-man, 4-man combined. They owned the start record almost at every track they were on. And now they're both 2 of them are hobbling around, which says something about this sport. You start to slide in October, you have to come all the way into February before the season ends. That doesn't include all the dryland training in June, July, and August, and the powerlifting. You have to be some kind of an athlete to maintain this long season schedule.
Hit out of Horseshoe. He was 1600s up going into Horseshoe. What has he got left over? Alexei Stulnev.
Oh boy.
1100s.
The Russians were fast down here.
He's only 3rd fastest on the split times. So skidding around down at the bottom.
I gotta believe this is another one.
600.
Either way.
Stulnev could have the lead and does by 200s. Alexei Stulnev posts a top 10 finish. And that is his joint best result of the season. He was 10th in Whistler last time out.
Not done yet.
No. Might climb another spot, because the gaps here are very small. Francesco Friedrich only 500s faster than Melbardis.
Look, he can barely. These guys can't even walk around the hotel. They're both limping. And look at the line here. He hits hard here. The take on. This is where he lost his 200s. Probably lost 1500s there.
Getting better day by day, says Melbardis, but not enough days left. Same for Francesco Friedrich, the double 2-man world champion.
He's jogging.
Yeah.
He's jogging. He's got a groin injury. His season is just about over. He's lightning at the start, and why he won the World Championships here 3 years ago, why he won the first 3 events of the season. He won 2 of the 4-man events. He'd won 5 straight races, and now he's hobbling.
Last 2 sleds, he and Melbardis, who's just gone, they were 1-2 in the first 3 races of the season, and now look at them. They're struggling to be in the top 10 because they're crippled.
That's what this sport does to you. You have to be a physical animal to be able to maintain the athleticism for 4 months of competitive season. Like the NFL Super Bowl tomorrow. A lot of those guys are limping onto the field.
Now, 1200s up on Alexei Stulnev. He's starting to ease away. He only had 500s from the first heat, still only got 1200s. Our split time showing us he's only 4th at this point on the track, so he's living on his first round advantage.
That groin injury's not going to heal until June or July. I don't think he's going to do it.
Red numbers quicker than the Russian sled. Oh, 200s behind, tied with Melbardis.
Look at, here's his world champion, double world champion right here.
Triple, because he was junior world as well.
He won the first 3 events of the year. I had already bet he was going to win double gold because he has the best starts. Double gold in the Innsbruck World Championships next week. Yep. He'll be lucky to medal.
Because he won the first 5 races of the year, because he won 2 4-man. Oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Groin injury, those groin injuries. Look at the size of the quads on this kid. Yeah. And he's a kid, he's only 25. But, boy, down below, I said the Russian sleds are fast. This skid here, look at this. Oh, you can't tell much there.
Just a fraction late on the take-on. I mean, the driving's not bad, but he is still feeling the pain all the time. Uga Salims, silver medalist on this track last year. The Latvian Barmy Army are enjoying the glue vine up at the top of the track. Intars Dambis behind him. And Salims, from silver last year on this track, only 8th in the first heat. It was he that rocketed up the order in the snowy first two-man race in Whistler. Or was that in Park City? That was Park City. I'm having a horrible time with my memory.
Doesn't have very good start speed. 50-kilometer speed you want to have. And the Latvian sleds, ooh, there's a problem.
Oh.
In the second chink, somehow it just drifted and he tapped. And those green numbers, 1600's lead, could be out of single digits at the next clock coming up here.
And that could be the end of his run.
No, well, I think the next clock is going to catch up to him. You can't hit that little chink up there and not have it be costly. Ooh, real high. Ooh, and he hit hard. He's still fast.
This man is second in our World Cup standings for two-man after a 5th, a 4th, and a 2nd in the last 3 races.
Right, here comes it back to square one. Remember how fast the Russians were down here.
He's really finding his form at the right time, isn't he, John?
Yeah, down to 15. He's going to win by single digits, but he barely held on here.
It's pretty close, isn't it?
There, 10. I said single 10. It's still the best finish of the season for you. There's some Russians, there's some Latvians. No Latvian wins here today, though. There's going to be no medals. And last year there was, Melbardis was 3rd. He was 2nd.
Latvians didn't even win yesterday in men's skeleton. Tied for the silver medal. They won the European Championships.
2 brothers tied for the silver medal. You show me what sport that happens in.
Tied as European champions as well.
Touches the lip. And watch the back end of the sled here. Watch the back end come airborne. Well, he hits. Watch the back end airborne. See the bottom top right runner? That's not how to be a slingshot effector the bottom part of the track, and he's lucky he held on.
Best result of his season, 2nd place last week, or 2 weeks ago. But Uga Salims leads by a slender margin with 7 sleds still to come. Max Arndt of Germany only 100th in front of Salims in the first of our 2 heats.
Well, they got the beast in the back. 3 gold medals. Ooh, watch this start speed, 5:17, that's better. 49.8, didn't get the magical 50 speed. Now, Arndt won the 4-man competition here at the World Championships on this track 3 years ago, and he's the World Cup leader in 4-man, and he gave up a lot of time on the bottom part of the track in the first run. And he could do that again in the second run.
Well, I wonder whether the runners are better suited to the slightly warmer ice.
That's not a good sign there.
It's not bad.
1300's
up.
Now he needs to be perfect here. Slingshot.
100th in front of Salims from the first heat.
13 to 14 is a good sign. Salims did not have a good exit. So this could be 18 or 19. The next clock means the exit did everything for him.
He was only 100th out of 6.
There's proof. When you hit the exit of horseshoe, your time goes away. Arndt just was perfect, took advantage of the slingshot effect, and he'll be 3,500s probably in front.
Now this could be a very important run for Arndt. He was only 100th out of 6th, but he was only a 10th out of 3rd place. 106.31 in the first heat would have left him in 2nd.
Yeah,
that
much
could
better.
Be a medal-winning run.
Picture perfect the exit, he knows it too. Picture perfect on the exit of horseshoe. On the slingshotted himself to the bottom part of the track, got the great speed, and he's got 3/10 of a lead, which was only 100th over Zelmas in the first run. Look at these lines. I mean, Kuska back there is a monster, 6'3", 245 pounds. You can't see him. Aerodynamic, perfect. Look at the runner tips. Quiet. I mean, barely steering.
Well, the other thing, you put Kuska on the back of the sled, and suddenly they're pushing less weight as well as having the monster horsepower behind him. There's the horseshoe bar. Alexander Kasyanov of Russia, 6th after the first heat here in St Moritz, and he is not the best placed Russian. Martin Haven, John Morgan trackside watching the action as Kazyanov and Alexei Pushkarev blast off. Current leader Max Arndt of Germany.
26 best start time in the first heat, a 33-31. Speed, 49.2, and he's subjected to perfect lines down here to have a chance.
A big run just now from Max Arndt could well put him in medal contention.
But remember, the Russian sleds have afterburners on the bottom part of this track. We saw that from Stolnev, who moved up 3 places earlier in this heat.
Notice that one of the women had a mirrored visor. Kazyanov has it as well to try and cut down the glare. On a sunny day here, you've got a white track, white surroundings, white clouds.
Perfect. 4/10 is almost impossible to catch. He might get it down in the teens, but I can't believe he's going to catch
right now. He is dropping 7 spots.
He's not even going to get in the teens. He's going to fall 5 or 6 places, which I'm sure if they show us Pierre Lueders, he is going to not be happy.
Well, if Kazyanov's not going to be happy. 6th off the first heat. If he drops out of the top 12, comes back to 3rd. But even so,
Max Arndt loves it. Now, he won his first ever medal in 2-man bob a couple weeks ago, right? Kazyanov? Yeah, he got a second. The last 2 races, he's got 2 bronze medals.
2 bronze medals.
So not today.
And his first 4-man win as well of his career.
This is up top. Boy, it looks quiet there. This is
well, look, it wasn't an ugly drive, was it? No. So again, track temperature is so different now from how it was in training. I wonder
whether the bottom part of the track, he was perfect.
I wonder whether they've just been misled by the weather getting colder. Max Arndt leads, 5 to go here in St Moritz. We're at the legendary Olympia Bob Run in St Moritz, 1,775 meters above sea level. 5 sleds remaining. Max Arndt of Germany leads. Russia's last hope is Maxim Adjianov. New brakeman Ilya Malik behind him.
It's the 4th different Russian driver we've seen in the circuit. Zakharov has been replaced by Andrianov, who rewarded the Russian coaching staff for the top 5 finish, but that was a little bit of a skid. And
listen, Max Arndt's second heat was 3/10 better than his first. That really raises the bar for all these guys. Going a few hundreds better is no good.
Look at those eyes as he enters out of the wall curve here into snake, a right and a left. So meticulous in here, and he's the back end skids up. 1800s back, but if he stops the bleeding, he can catch on to the bottom. The Russian sleds, not the last one we saw, Stolnev, but in the first heat, the Russian sleds were flying on the bottom part of this track.
Back of the sled is moving around, just like we saw with the Russian women. Whatever runner selection they've gone with is not working on
today.
This track.
And the first heat, it was pretty good, but not here in the second run.
It was a little frosty then, and now it's lubricated more as the warmth comes into the air.
Sun's on the track.
Yeah.
He might get it. Yeah. Now the question is, how many places is he going to fall?
He might be second ahead of Uwe Salims.
He might get it back to single digits, but still his best finish of the season, no matter what.
Second at the line, and yes, guaranteed top 6 finish.
Max Arndt is loving this. I don't think Max Arndt's got a medal finish.
Adjianov, 1 race, he was 15th in the season opener in Altenburg, and then got sent back to European Cup action.
Max Arndt was 4th in the first event of the season in Altenburg, and he's on the verge of posting his best finish of the season. And here's up top. Watch the skid here in the snake. Watch the second part of the curve. Watch when he exits the curve. Watch the back end of the sled. That's steering to get out of the curve, and that steering creates friction.
Well, he's trying to bring the nose down, and the tail's still trying to go up. That's skidding. Nico Walter from Freital near Altenburg, the 25-year-old. Has his brakeman got the strap done up? Christian Poser on his helmet? Let's hope so. Marco Hubenbecker there, and the rest of the German brakemen watching the action at the start, cheering their teammates on.
Okay, 21 in this first run. They should get a 20, 19 in the second. Oh, Poser was in real quick. A little bit of a skid. 15, way better. 50.4, way better. To the guy who told me he just has no feel on this track. He doesn't have any confidence in what he's going to do, and he was in fourth at the end of the first run. So I'd like to have no confidence in being fourth place like that.
He was only 200s out of the medals as well, and he's a 10th in front of Max Arndt.
Oh, it's down to 8. That's not good. Arndt was perfect.
Double two-man world champion Francesco Friedrich only 6th at the moment with 3 more after this.
Down to 3. He's second in World Cup points.
Yes, he is. Having a good 4-man
season 2, yeah.
In fact, he's 3rd in World Cup points in 2-man, but I think he's 2nd in 4-man.
2nd in combined.
So Nico Walter, this is his real coming out season. He's 600 out. This could be very close.
Good drive.
Has he got enough? Yes, by 8 over Max Arndt.
1800's better. Arndt finishes no worse than 5th, no worse than 4th for Nico Walter.
Yeah.
And for the guy who doesn't like the track, I think he'll get out of St Moritz. Look, happy.
His time, 1:06.31, seems familiar. It's exactly the same time Max Arndt had in the second heat. So the gap between them, 800s, that was the gap from heat 1.
Watch them both get in the sled at the same time. They both sit on the same time. Poser just boom. And then look at the pressure.
Yeah.
So that pressure in that first curve, I don't think you can use that much pressure. And then here, Exeter Horseshoe, he didn't help his finish time. Hey, Nico, you don't like this track, huh?
Well, he might start to, you know.
Still got a chance for a medal.
World Cup points leader Yoon Jung-won of Korea, with Youngwo Seo behind him, lying in 3rd place, and off a first ever career victory in Whistler in the first of the 2-man races.
Not a very good start in the first heat for them. 22, 13th best start. They're usually one of the best starting teams, period. That was a good around the first curve. 5:19, 300's better. Speed 49.8, not the 50 that the top teams are getting, including Walter at a 50.4 there. Only 200 separate Walter at the bottom.
Yesterday, Tom Delahunty sprinkled Korean coach Malcolm Lloyd's ashes down in Horseshoe. The whole team were there. This is going to be a very, very emotional weekend for them. Yet another one since losing Goma in the Christmas break.
But they won 2 weeks ago was in Whistler, historic race. First Asian ever to win a World Cup bobber skeleton race. And yesterday, the Koreans won the skeleton race. So the Koreans are well positioned for the 2018 games. They're an emerging nation that are almost one of the top powers in the sport.
And this is our points leader, and the men closest to him are already done. He will remain points leader.
Yes, but he's not going to beat
Walter.
It's going to be a medal for Walter.
He's going to drop out into 3rd place. He does.
So, Nico Walter, the next time you tell me you don't like the track, I'm going to bet on you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I hate Eagles. Let's get down to the
I want to hear what he says about Eagles. But hey, Juan, still the World Cup leader. He's going to win the World Cup title.
Yeah. I think there's every chance he will, which is a stunning performance. Uke Salimslai 2nd, Nico Walter 3rd in points.
The roller coaster ride these guys have been on in the last 5 weeks is unbelievable.
Well, they're the little mark on the track. Those are Goma's ashes.
You can see the picture of Goma on the front of the sled, and what an emotional roller coaster ride. And these guys are performing at a high level with losing their coach earlier, like last month.
It just emphasizes how good the coaching has been developing these guys.
They won. Great.
The figurehead is still with them.
World Cup leader still. Okay.
2 to go. Stephen Holcomb of the USA with Carlo Valdez behind him. He's won a 4-man world championship on this track back in 2013. Can he win 2-man gold here in 2016?
5:28. Well, they had the 23rd best start in the first run, but Holcomb was a rocket. He needs to be a rocket again because he's at a real deficiency with that start, but he overcame that in the first run. Was unbelievable what he accomplished for speed.
As you say, 23rd best start. He's 17th best start in the second heat, so there'll be one more goes quicker.
How he's going to overcome 2300s, but he did in the first run. if he has to get this down to the teens in the exit of horseshoe.
Former two-man world champion as well.
Oh, not good there. 19, not good there either.
Coming down, his speed at the bottom was sensational. 144. He needs that.
Oh, here he comes. He's doing it again.
He needs this BMW sled to be invisible to the air as he comes through the speed gun. Avoids the wall.
5. He could be doing 100. This is for a medal.
He'll take it away from Nico Walter and lead with 1 to go.
How can he do that? You know, anybody doubts what that guy could do. He can't push the sleds anymore like he used to. But if you put up, if there's some way to judge.
Aerodynamics, baby.
Look how happy he is.
Well, Nico Walter in second place, still with a chance of a European Championship gold.
Holcomb he is a driver.
Yes, he is. He's a competitor, isn't he?
He's still got a quad injury.
Yep. That injury from the beginning of the season is still not 100%. Nico Walter, Christian Poser offer their congratulations. Holcomb leads, 1 to go. Can the Swiss win here? Bert Hefty has Alex Baumann back, fit, healthy, and fast as he like.
Hefty's
Lampard behind.
Hefty's race to lose. Go quiet, and then you're going to hear a lot of cowbells.
Lots and lots of noise. Hup Swiss. Bert Hefty had a 2100s lead over Stephen Holcomb from the first heat. He didn't clatter the wall, a 5:13 start.
If he hits down here, Holcomb might have a chance. If he gets clean through this next couple curves, it's going to be pretty tough for Hefty. I don't know if he's ever won on this track before, though. I think he's always had a lot of podiums, but he hasn't had a great success story on this track. Oh, huge. That's relative to the start. It's almost impossible to throw away 5600s.
With his experience, it's going to be remarkable if he does not win this. 5100s up.
It's like a victory lap for him right now.
Don't forget, Holcomb very quick down at the bottom.
Yeah, down to 40. It'll go down to 25 or so. Holcomb will have the best time in the second run, but with the start time advantage they had over Holcomb, 1500s at the start in this run alone. Yeah, he'll get down here to 21 or something.
Bert Hefty will take the lead all the way to the line and claim victory and the European Championship. Silver for Stephen Holcomb, bronze for Nico Walter, who is the European silver medalist, and Max Arndt takes European bronze. Switzerland and Germany dominating the podium here in St Moritz. And that is the Horseshoe Bar. The barbecue is on, the beers are flowing, and Bert Hefty may join them shortly.
Plus, he's also the European champion, and I'm sure he's got incentives in his contract for that. So, Bert, we counted you out before the Christmas break when you were finishing 13th and 15th. Now you got your brakeman back, and boys, he goes to Innsbruck next week. Don't count him out of being a gold medalist with that start time.
Yeah! 2 wins on this track in 2 weeks. European Cup last week. European Championship this week. There's Max Arndt, bronze medalist in the Europeans. I beg your pardon. Oh, yes, he is. Bronze medalist. Nico Walter, silver medalist.
Eric Scher, the Olympic gold medalist in 1980 from Switzerland. Congratulating him.
And up at the top of the track is Hans Hildebrand.
Yeah, there's Scher, one of the legendary Swiss pilots that dominated the sport in 75 to 85. But Hefty, with his brakeman, Alex Baumann is back. Hefty's very comfortable with his brakeman, and he gets a rocket start, and he finds the fast line to the bottom on his home track in St Moritz.
Listen, he won by 1800s, but halfway down, he was 4/10, 5/10 ahead of Stephen Holcomb.
But Holcomb, man, he got out-driven. He got outstarted 1500s a heat and only lost by 18 at the bottom.
But if you take 700 meters off this track, then you're looking at a much closer to an eagle's distance, and Hefty was flying way clear of the field at that distance. He is in perfect form for the World Championships. Bert Hefty wins the European Championship. Stephen Holcomb takes second in the World Cup race, and the European silver and bronze medalists are Nico Walter and Max Arndt. Yunjin Wana-Korea slips out of the medals to 5th, but still leads the World Cup rankings. Walter only 1 spot in front of him, closes a little. And whoever does best in the race to conclude the season, in fact, Nico Walter breaks the tie in second ahead of Ugi Zalims. What's the gap between them? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 60 points. So basically, Walter has to finish 4 or 5 spots ahead of one in Koenigsegg at the end of February to take the Crystal Globe away from the Korean. Wow, Goma, what a legacy, what a legacy. Well, it's been a frantic morning of action on this St Moritz track. 2 heats for the women, 2 heats for the men, interspersed with each other. Busy morning of action, beautiful weather conditions. The track finally back to where we expect it to be for St Moritz. And down there at the Horseshoe Bar. Yeah.
Boy, is that a spectacular place to watch a bobsled race.
I'm thinking I might be walking up there for my lunch. Yeah,
little bratwurst
little bratwurst and a beer. Yeah, I think so. We're not racing till tomorrow morning again. I think so. There you see Alana Myers-Taylor with a flash of pink and Sherelle Garrett to her right, to our right rather, the winners in a women's race.
Good day for the U.S.
Yeah, podium ceremonies for both races and the European Championships for men and women will be taking place shortly.
Look at this setting. It's just you just can't believe it. Well, it's like it's fake pictures.
Like Monaco, the only thing wrong with this place is the cost of living. it's stunning. It is absolutely, I mean...
well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you do that, and you pay for what you get as well. But, you know, as far as chocolate box winter scenes go, yeah, this takes quite some beating. One of the most spectacular venues on any tour. World Cup skiing comes into town. The FIS arrive in a week or two, and next year the FIS World Championships. So all the World Cup skiers will be coming here for the World Championships, and they, like us, John, regard this as spiritual home of winter sports. So I'm sure they are all already getting keyed up and saving up to enjoy a fortnight of action here. And look at those pistes, perfectly prepared and busy as you like on a beautiful sunny Saturday. The Engadin Valley in St Moritz, the venue for the European Championships. Bert Hefty takes gold ahead of Nico Walter and Max Arndt. Max Adrianov in 4th ahead of Ugi Zalims and Alexander Kasyanov. But for Hefty, victory at home in Switzerland. I wonder whether European Championship title or a win in St Moritz is sweeter. I think perhaps the European will last longer, but the feeling of winning on home ice is definitely going to be taking his attention now. And among those Europeans in the World Cup result, Steve Holcomb took the silver medal, but after a dominating first heat, Bert Hefty only needed to cement that to take victory in round 7 of the World Cup, and that he did. Only his fourth World Cup start of the season, after #1 brakeman Alex Baumann was ill before Christmas, stayed in Europe and trained up. Stephen Holcomb with a little pull there as well from the start. Your bronze medalists there on the right-hand side, Christian Poser, and on the left in the yellow jacket, Nico Walter. Poser gets the magnum of Cordon Rouge. And what's that, a Nebuchadnezzar? I'm not sure. I never really have to worry about what's bigger than a magnum of champagne. Stephen Holcomb takes the silver medal. Bert Hefty, the European champion 2016, a week out from starting the World Championships, and the on-form 2-man driver of this weekend. Well, that's it from the 2-man competition, from the women's bobsleigh as well, from St Moritz. Next time out, World Championship action. Join John Morgan, the IBSF TV crew, and me, Martin Haven. Until then, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time out. Goodbye from St Moritz.